Something about Boston. Hello and welcome to my first monthly review as Some Film About Boston, which is my rap persona. I went through various iterations of this to try and figure out what was the best thing to do, to find the best angle, best time to record it, best technology to use, best thing to wear. And a huge part of my personality is about trying to just shoot from the hip, do whatever comes naturally. So I hope you'll forgive the fact that I've given a lot of thought into sort of curating how this inaugural thing goes. The hope is that I sort of figure out what's the best way for me to do these sorts of things and sort of set it and forget it. As evidence of this camera tripod is actually directly over my PlayStation 4 so that I can just sort of keep all the cables and everything where they are. I just need to turn it on. That's what I'm trying to do. Something easy, doesn't require a lot of setup, very practical. I think I figured that out. The other thing I figured out with this that I feel it's important to share with you is having notes is a terrible idea, because then I can't figure out where the focus is on here or on a computer screen or on a note card. It doesn't work. So hopefully improvising this is a good idea. I did write some stuff about what I thought might be good to talk about before I made this. So hopefully I'll remember those things. But I think this is the way to go. Shoot from the hip. Let's see. What is important to tell you? This first monthly review, I wanted to sort of establish how I had created this hip-hop persona and, come up with a separate email address and this whole thing, because I wanted to give myself the ability to make songs about all sorts of things that you would do as a rapper that would be considered transgressive and unacceptable in my citizen's persona and as Joseph Martin. But the more I think about it, the more I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not MF Doom. I think it's just, I can just share with the people who know that I'm a classical pianist the fact that I'm also a rapper. And consequences be damned. Nevertheless, because it's a hip-hop persona, there are things that I think sort of define it. And the thing which defines it more than anything, in my mind, is the Freudian id and how it battles against the superego. I know what I should do. I know how productive I should be. I know what I should say to people, what I shouldn't say to people. I know that it's almost never good to get angry. I know that if I see a pretty girl that's scantily clad for some reason, either accidentally or deliberately, that it is anything that I might be feeling or experiencing while I'm seeing that person, I probably shouldn't act on those things because they're probably not things that I should be doing. I know that rationally as a superego, right? That's what I should do, what I shouldn't do. But I still feel things. I still have feelings, and art is catharsis, and it's a way to, get those emotions out there, right? So, but that's an id, right? So the id just goes, say something to her like, hey, you're not wearing any clothes. I'm a big fan of that. Or start drinking again, or whatever. And they fight. They fight one another, and there's a clear-cut idea of what I should do as a person, which is pretty obvious, and I can do that, and I'm just going to do that. But at the same time, I think some of those aspects of my human nature that are not welcome or obnoxious or just annoying or just a pain to deal with or process as a regular human being should be welcomed and encouraged in my artistic persona. However, going too deep in explaining that will get me in hot water. There's no question. Just thinking about current political situations, stories on the news, my current employment. So I won't. But as a general idea, what I would have, idea of fantasies about or daydreams about, which wouldn't necessarily be socially acceptable, I feel that I have permission to do within my rap identity. How did I come upon the name Some Film About Boston? That came from a Seth Meyers digital short on SNL called Boston Movie, and I thought I would fashion my name after that, calling myself Some Film About Boston. That was it. The other part of it was I thought it'd be funny if someone ever announced me at a rap show saying, introducing Some Film About Boston, because it sounds like they're about to play a film. And it's me. I have an album that I'm going to try and get out as soon as possible. And I'm trying to do it as cheaply as possible. Called Paul Klee, who's a painter whose illustrations have been found on many editions of Chopin piano music. And looking at his illustrations, which are under copyright, which I will not use, but I don't believe his name is under copyright, I felt that would represent best how I think about my approach to composition right now. There's a lot of things with Paul Klee that kind of look to me sort of angular or almost like Jackson Pollock, where he just sort of threw paint at a canvas. That's how it seems to me. I don't know how he actually did it. But I thought that would sort of be a good metaphor for how I should approach this most recent phase of rap composition for myself. This sort of getting locked into a process instead of being letting my inner critic have reign and not releasing anything. Not worrying so much about what I'd like to write about, or even if I have anything to write about, and just kind of going with it. That's sort of the idea of this album, and likely will be the idea of albums in the future. I railed against the students that I had at one of the colleges saying you shouldn't ever try and be efficient. Give all that you can give. You're an artist, put it all out there and put your heart into it, into everything, And I think that's true, but funnily enough, eerily enough, with hip hop, it has become about efficiency. And the reason for that is that I am a coward. And the older I get, the harder it feels for me to kind of bring myself to put myself out there and do something just for myself. So I need to figure out what's the least amount of stuff I can do to do something that's kind of high quality, but I didn't have to exert a lot of effort for it. This sort of qualifies for that. When I have that album available, I will let those of you who are watching this know. I'll probably update it in the description. I might also release this late if it takes a while for the album to come out, or I might just release it and then just update it later. Regardless, I appreciate you checking in for my first monthly check-in for December 2023. Thank you so much.